Firefighters share a special bond that comes with trusting one another with their lives as they face danger together. For one group of firefighters from Kilgore, Texas, that trust was put to the ultimate test on the afternoon of July 26, 1991.
911 emergency.
We got a fire over here on Super Saver in Kilgore.
You have a fire?
Yeah, in the store.
100 all units, 100 all units. If you have a report of a fire, we'll be at Super Saver inside the...
Kilgore Fire Department units responded from 2 different stations, including EMT firefighter Danny Eason.
We as firemen are just like family. Whenever you're at the fire station, you're with those people for 24 hours. You're never apart. We probably spend more time together than we spend with our wife and kids. We rolled into the front. Our 2 engine was already there with Captain Messer. From what I understand, somebody told him that there were 2 employees in the building, and so his concern was getting those people out of the building.
We got it. Get out of here. Get out of here.
Captain Gil Messer rushed in without putting on his air mask.
Captain Eastman asked me to go on in and check on Gil, because we don't just go one person inside a burning structure.
Firefighter Tony Smith joined Gil Messer in trying to put out the blaze.
With the stuff that we had in the store, like chlorine bleach, we're looking at a pretty dangerous situation because you get poison fumes off the bleach.
It was pretty heavy smoke. It was real white smoke, totally different from anything that I've ever seen.
The fire was extinguished within 30 minutes.
We were all standing around talking, and Gil made the comment to me that he felt like he had gotten a little bit too hot. He didn't look good. He looked kind of pale and had a little bit of a gray tone to his skin.
Paramedic Dave Taylor was doing routine checks of all the firefighters.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
The only fireman that didn't feel well and didn't look good was Gil Messer. He mentioned that he was just really tired. And he said, cigarettes are going to kill me. They keep robbing me of my breath.
All of a sudden, I saw Gil's body tighten up, and Tony reached out and grabbed him. I ran over and immediately started checking for carotid pulse. And I could get a light pulse at that time. It was real faint.
Somebody give me a big pickup.
He was rolling his head from side to side, and his muscles were almost trembling. You really didn't know whether he was having a seizure or what was happening.
Let's get that backboard in here.
We were all a little bit scared because here's a man that we work with. One minute we're talking to him, and the next minute he's laying on the ground.
Okay.
I couldn't get any reading on my blood pressure cuff. So I went in and checked his carotid pulse again and couldn't get a pulse.
Let's go. Let's go. We need to go. Come on.
I thought that maybe it was the chlorine bleach, that maybe he had gotten some smoke and it had caused him to have a seizure and caused his heart to stop. Just as soon as we got him in the ambulance, I started chest compressions on Gil.
Robert, call the hospital. Tell them go ahead and call Code Blue.
I've done CPR several times, but I've never had to do it on one of my fellow firemen.
Gil's condition continued to grow worse. He did not revive in the ambulance, and driving in, I thought I was going to see my first firefighter die in the line of duty.
Within 5 minutes, Gil Messer arrived at Roy H. Laird Hospital, where a medical team was standing by to treat him.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Whenever we got into the emergency room, I started having my first doubts. He just had that look that whenever somebody looks that way, most of the time, that you're not going to be able to get them back.
Dr. Tom Beats was on his rounds when he heard the commotion in the emergency room.
What's the history? As I walked in, I saw that the patient was in ventricular fibrillation.
Now, why don't you go to the shot and
Pull it back. Okay.
come on, Gil.
Everybody get back.
Okay.
Clear. Clear. Come on, Gil.
What we got?
He didn't respond. He stayed in ventricular fibrillation. And there's just a feeling of despair. We're doing the things we should be doing, and he's not coming back.
Chief Ronnie Moore was one of Gil's many friends who rushed to the hospital to see if he could help.
I decided that I needed to notify some of his family, and Gil's brother is a fireman, and instead of calling his wife, I decided to call Bruce.
Bruce, this is Chief Moore. To the hospital. He had informed me that Gil was injured in a fire and asked me if I would go over and pick up Gil's wife and bring her towards Kilgore. How bad is it? At that point, I told him, cut the book, no reading between the lines, tell me what exactly happened. And all he said was he's not going to make it.
You want to increase it to 300? That's shocking again. Clear.
Dr. Bates defibrillated Gil, and we got a heartbeat back.
Come on, Gil.
And then the heartbeat just started getting slower and slower and fading off.
2 milligrams a minute IV. Go on, begin chest compressions.
At that point, I started thinking we weren't going to be able to get him back.
Come on, man. Katie, you need a break?
But nobody was ready to give up on Gil. Nobody.
It's a 10-minute drive to my sister-in-law's, and your mind's going 90 miles an hour. The reality hits that I may never see him again.
Come on, Danny.
Danny had been doing chest compressions on his friend for more than 30 minutes. When he became exhausted, he finally let Dave take over.
How much time has it been?
About 30 minutes.
He's back in V-fib again. Let me go ahead and try one more time.
Oh, he's blue. Clear. Clear. Come on, Gil.
Hold off on chest compressions.
Come on, Gil. Come on, Gil. Go through there. Come on, buddy. Come on, Bubba.
Hold it, he's up. No pulse.
Come on, Gil.
Okay, he's got a pulse.
Come on, Bubba.
Got a pulse. After a few seconds, he came back.
Come on, Gil. The pressure 70 is strong.
Over the next minute, he developed a regular rhythm, just like you and I have. He's got a good pulse. Go ahead and suction him out.
Even though we had a heartbeat, he still looked dead. But all of a sudden, his eyes rolled forward and he looked up at me. I said, Gil, can you hear me? He nodded his head, yes.
Oh, man. That was great.
I honestly believe that day I saw the life come back into Gil Messer. I talked to him for a few more minutes. I felt like I had to leave the room. I didn't want to leave Gil, but I felt like I was fixing to break down, and I didn't want him to see it.
Okay, here we go.
Hey, we're going to go out to the helicopter.
Take him out head first, and we'll spin him around and go feet first.
I think it was a team effort that saved him when his heart stopped. The only better place to have a cardiac arrest would probably be in the emergency room.
Gil was taken by air ambulance 30 miles to the cardiac care unit of Mother Frances Hospital, where he underwent a battery of tests. His wife, Mary Lee, and brother drove to the second hospital, where they finally got a chance to see him.
He's going to have lots of IVs and stuff coming out. I think I'll see you people. Bye.
I took his hand and brushed his hair back. A tear rolled down his cheek. He said, I love you. He looked wonderful. It was so good to see him lying there.
2 months after his heart attack, Gil Messer returned to work alongside his friends and co-workers at the Kilgore Fire Department.
The firefighters, through the grace of God, saved my life. Maybe the reason I'm still around is to tell firefighters that they need to try to stay more physically fit and eat better foods. Because if it's going to happen to me at 40 years old, it can happen to anybody.
Gil underwent successful angioplasty to open up a blocked artery. He's grateful to all the people who helped save his life that day, and especially to Danny.
Danny and I were good friends before, but I feel like all this has brought us a lot closer together.
After I take my stress test, where's my ball?
In my heart, I feel like there won't be any way that I'll ever be able to repay him for what he did.
together twice in a row.
Right. Me and Gil have a friendship now that can't anybody ever take away from us, because there's not that many times that you get somebody back and alive, especially as long as we had to work on Gil.
He has been through all the rehab, and he's been a wonderful patient on his diet. Erin has always given Gil a real hard time about being a smoker. She's learned this in school, that smoking is bad for you.
I don't smoke anymore, and I feel real good. I want to see Erin grow up and graduate, get married, have children of her own. That's why I wanted to live.